Hi guys, this is Sydney. I was feeling called to share this information at this time as I received some information in regards to Gaia's Ascension and some guidance for individuals who may resonate and need this information at this time. So take however it resonates for you and leave what doesn't, as always. First thing that I'm going to share is from the angelic realm. What I received about a few days ago was the information about the crystalline brain. And that's going to start activating in the month of Gemini. And Gemini, as you know, if you are familiar with astrology or have this kind of knowledge, you may be familiar that it's connected to the energy of the Mercury. It has to do with the third eye and the crown chakra activation. It may carry certain so-called physical ascension symptoms, especially brain fog is what I'm going to share. So if someone, an individual, is activating this as their frequency is ready, and that's why this may not be for everyone. It's very unique to every individual. So once again, as a reminder, they want me to emphasize the journey is never to be compared, but we need to continue to learn to honor our own individual journey as well as honor others' individual unique journey as well. So focus on yourself, focus on inward, okay, continuing to evolve. So what came was we are to remove the sixth veil in our third eye, if those of you who are ready to do that. And so what's going to take place is you're going to experience some sort of brain fog is what is coming initially. And as you release further the veil, meaning all this duality programming, the consciousness, the judgment, and the illusion of fear. And so you start to have this mindset more in a practical term sense, communication wise, you know, like we could call it a mindset, right? If you embody certain mindset that you're honoring others, you're respecting others' uniqueness, and you are here to help those around you to further their growth or lift them up in one way or another. It's not related to a job or a career, but whatever you choose to or intend to act on, choose to communicate with, that is all aligned in the energy. That sixth veil will be removed, and then you will have further crystallized your brain. So meaning as the veils are removed, you have more capacity to receive and anchor down the light codes that are constantly coming in right now, so that your brain can be crystallized, as well as our carbon-based body is in the transitory period of transforming into a crystalline light body at this time. So as the symptom of this transition or transformation, we experience something on a physical level, and that could manifest as so-called brain fog, where you can't think clearly, or your brain is foggy, or we call it cloudy, and you can't think straight, or it's hard for you to focus, or something of that nature is what I'm going to share. But as always, you wanna your health conditions best, your what's going on with your body the best. So this is based on a condition that you have a healthy body and everything's functioning well, and that is just a physical symptom, ascension symptom. Okay, so if you are experiencing that all of a sudden, you will know in your heart if this may be for you. Then instead of continuously worrying about it and trying to figure out, that's the old energy, Just allow that reality as what it is, and accept this reality as what is what is coming for me to share. And then you can continue to have a bigger understanding of what is taking place, all the changes in your physical body, as well as energetically. And so allowing that, honoring that journey, and you have that sense of inner knowing that that is the change that is taking place. And as you focus your mind, rather than going into that old mentality of worrying and trying to control it, but rather understanding and being in a bigger picture perspective, staying observant, and then listening and tuning into your body and providing what it needs. If it's rest, if it's just simply you feel like you need to drink more water, or just take a good bath and rest and just enjoy yourself, or however it is. And also to stay strong boundaries within your mental sphere, so that any thoughts incoming, any energies that are incoming, any people who may thinking about you or attaching to your energies coming in, you know how to discern and not give attention or cut these cords out, so that you can focus on clearing your third eye further and activating your crystalline body is what I'm going to share. So also what I'm going to share is there are a lot of false claims that's taking place in the spiritual community as well, that they're claiming they're this or that, they're doing this or that. These things have been taking place for quite some time. And as I was guided to observe and experience these things in the spiritual community since March 2023, these things actually take place, and they are really taking advantage of people or souls who are just waking up, or they are in need of help and they don't know about what's going on, like with the changes or spiritual awakening. And so just as information sharing is the word that is coming, just always tune into your intuition. Your intuition always gives you where you need to be, or guides you where you need to be, and communicate with your guardian angels or your spirit team. That if you aren't sure, just give me a strong sign whether this person is in a aligned with the highest intentions, or if you don't have that psychic abilities, if you can see or read energies, that's something that you can do, because these people exist is what I'm going to share. So just but when you first awaken to these realities of what's going on within the spiritual community, you can go into fear, but just that allow that experience for you to see your own fears and then release them and learn more about what's going on. So these experiences can help you grow and help you empower and help you discern better, rather than get knocked down or knocked out by these events or things, is what I'm going to share. Always, it's up to you how you use what's in front of you. You can empower yourself, or you can make it disempower yourself. Okay, so that's something that I'm going to share. And also at this time as well, since the past few days, the energy of Gaia has been rising up very quickly all of a sudden. And so you may have experienced and still experiencing some sort of like physical ascension symptoms, so-called, especially, 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 especi exhaustion or fatigue, or some people brain fog or vertigo or something like that. It's because the energies are, what is coming is, it's, you will experience this because you have worked very hard to release a lot of these energies of the lower vibrations or lower timelines, or however you resonate. That karmic cycle, we had a huge ending recently with the Pisces, South Node in Pisces at 29 degrees squaring Saturn. So that was like ending that religious code era that I shared a few videos ago. So that was like the heads up for what was to come around this time. So new energies coming in. So you have emptied out a lot of the old stuff. Now these light codes and higher light, they are showering you with upgrades. So if you are constantly feeling like you want to sleep, just allow your body to do that if your circumstance allows, and if that's something that you can, so-called manage. And then if you feel like you're thirsty, or you want to go for more cleaner or like juicing type of foods, or go for it and listen to your body. Once again, tune in, allow what it needs rather than judging what is good, what is bad, or doing it because in your mind the knowledge that is good, rather than tuning in and listening to your body, and the body says you're thirsty now, you want to drink more, rather than you're not thirsty but hydration is important, so that you are forcing yourself to drink like 3 liters of water every day or something like that. So that's not recommended. So anything that you are forcing out of the mind is something that you want to continue to review and be aware and discern, and learn to tune in, hone in, and listen, and provide what it needs. Okay, so that's like more providing what it needs, and then allow yourself to feel grateful that you're being provided with what you need in this moment or in that moment, that universe is always providing for you. That's the energy of abundance, but not just in a place of taking stance, but you are also reciprocating with sincere appreciation and gratitude, that you are really thanking the universe. So another thing that I'm going to share is, whenever you talk to or work with archangels or other beings, you always want to thank them at the end. It's very important. So another thing is, I've been connected to the energy of Hawaii very heavily the past week. And in the latest YouTube video, I also share that I started to connect with the ocean water in Hawaii as I was looking over to the ocean where I am in Sydney, Australia right now. It's like the Pacific energy, the Lemurian energy. And then I've been connecting to it very heavily. And all of a sudden today, I think like a day or 2 ago, I received this information about the extraterrestrial disclosure from that the group of Greys that are working specifically for Gaia, for humanity's ascension. They're supporting and assisting at this time. And received the information that there may be a possibility in 2027, that big public disclosure. But as we all know, the future timelines and possibilities are always changing and shifting based on what we are doing right in this moment. So with that, humanity is preparing, and individuals are also activating, so that it's adding to the collective energy for ascension. So what I started to see suddenly was the one of the possibilities of the extraterrestrial disclosure. How it could happen is that I start to see this giant spaceship floating in the sky in Hawaii, and that's one of the possibilities as the disclosure. And I asked, why is this coming and why Hawaii? And what I received was that the energy of the Hawaii is easier for them to come through. And the people of Hawaii, particularly and relatively compared to other places, they're going to be well received with this event, this extraterrestrial event, with their certain consciousness and the energy of that land of Hawaii. So that came as one of the possibilities. And just before coming to the camera, where I started to feel like I wanted to share this, I asked, what's the importance? What's important for sharing this information at this time? What's the relevancy? And what I received was back in March 2023, when we had the very big 3-3 energy portal back then, there was a lot of talk about the extraterrestrial disclosure and everything shifting and changing and timeline shifting and all of that all of a sudden. And there was a lot of hype in the spiritual community that my spirit team Source and Gaia wanted me to tap into and experience and witness and observe, that so-called starseeds and people who's in the spiritual community in the place of giving guidance, or like this place of helping people, they were sharing their excitement that finally, yay, they are coming. And when I tapped into that energy, the energy was not in a very high vibrational state. Immediately, that's what came up. And later I realized the reason why is because there's a lot of that separation energy of the superiority, inferiority taking place on a subtle level, that these people see themselves as superior over other people who are unawakened yet, or who are about to wake up on a subconscious level if they're not aware. And so they see part of that extraterrestrial or this like starseed group as the higher than humans, or people who are unawakened, or whatever, how they may perceive it on a subconscious level due to their certain conditionings and programming and trauma signatures. That's something that I'm going to share and mention, that when these extraterrestrial disclosures or this information about ascension, it's not to create one-upmanship is what I'm going to share, that, oh, I know this information and I am better, or I have this knowledge, or I have this blah. So it's not to create that superiority, inferiority, duality aspect. So that's something that you may want to also be aware within your energy field. If anything comes up of that nature, that ego aspect coming up and taking over. So instead of doing that, the purpose and intention behind my sharing of this information is so that, okay, we get this heads up, there's a possibility. Then if you are awakened and conscious and more aligned, what can I do to help humanity? What can I do to help other individuals? What can I do to help Gaia at this time is the question you need to be asking more often than, oh, that's what is coming on. Oh, yes, you know, like I heard that, I know this information that blah, blah, blah. It's not to be shared or communicated or considered as a topic of gossip or this kind of debate or discussion that no, that can't be, or that's right or wrong, or because everyone has their own truth. We are to continue to express our authentic truth, right? That truth is very unique to everyone. So instead of doing that, that's the question you need to be asking and you need to be working on and reflect on, so that how can I raise my vibration? How can I stay more aligned to hold the space when that event takes place? Okay, so that's why you are here. And all these labels such as starseeds and these and that, when we express it, yes, it is true because you're expressing it because that's part of your truth. If that is aligned with your real truth, you know. But when someone holds the energy of duality consciousness very heavily on a subconscious level, when they share I'm this, I'm that, there's an energy of that separation. Okay, so that's something that it's kind of very delicate and subtle energy. So when you share, you know, for example, I know my truth, I know what I experienced in the past life, I have some memories that came in divine timing, that I also shared in many of the videos prior, like since 2023. And they're my truth, right? And I'm sharing these truths because it's my truth. And there's no more or no less. You see what I mean? So that's the state we are... they're encouraging us to get into more, especially those of you who may be in the spiritual community as well, in a certain position to help people or read energies, or, you know, like, you know, psychic readings or transmission, or like tarot card readers or whatnot. It's very important for individuals to continue to stay aligned, continue to align with one's energy. So when you receive this information, it's not to hype someone up or hype the community up, but it's more about what can we do? How can we help with this knowledge? So that when these events take place, it can go very smoothly for humanity, because a lot of people who are not awakened, or if it goes on the public, of course they will come in the right divine timing when they know that it's going to be the right time, right place. At the same time, what can we do as a light worker, starseed, that you now are more aware, more awakened, you have more remembrance, right? So that another thing is not to like force this knowledge on someone, that this is what is going to take place and trust me, follow me and do this, just say what I do and you will be fine. Like none of this, but just continue to allow yourself to evolve, continue to help support others evolve, and align, so that we become one large family again. And so another information that started to come through very heavily the past week was about all these places around the world where it had been colonized. And this, especially like here when I'm in Sydney, when I first got here, I started to tap into that colonial energy. And I share in those like first videos when I just arrived on YouTube, that I start to sense and feel and start to see, like all of a sudden with my third eye, like the 1800s and 1900s, the energies here, and how basically how horrible it was. And as I was walking, I started to see the town in that era, just like time traveling. So that's my special unique abilities. So as I'm just walking in this timeline, also I, with my third eye, I can travel to another timeline and see and experience what is taking place. And that's how I transmute that energy to support Gaia in certain parts and different parts of the regions. Especially I'm in charge of so-called the Pacific area for the Lemurian timeline activation. So what I saw was like all this mafia energies and all these different timelines. There are, you know, all the immigrants from Europe here, right? The Greece, the Turkey, Italy, like Germany, France, all of this. And they brought their own culture. And then only just 2-3 days ago, they gave me the information that the clarity or the confirmation of what I had been seeing, that I was suddenly feeling called to visit this like kind of a pavilion building in the middle of the beach that I never felt called to go and walk into. And then suddenly I started to walk into that, and there were pictures of this Bondi Beach in 1800s and then 1900s. And then I saw this name, and that was just a confirmation. I've been starting to see this name as a street sign around the block coming to the beach in different streets. There are many streets, and these two particular names stood up, and I knew why they had me given this, and they've been giving me this name for the past 2 weeks or more. So I received that clarity on that day, and that was the person's name who was the owner of the Bondi Beach here. So this was a public, not a public beach, but a private owned beach. And he was forced to open this up by the colonial government at the time. So at first it was open, just parts of it as like a family recreation area. But then he didn't like it, the owner didn't like it. So he was fighting against and trying to get back his rights to own this beach entirely. But I think it happened over the course of like 20 years, and then he lost. So finally, after 20 years later, the beach became public, and that's how all this like beach culture and surfing culture started to come through, and beach lifestyle here. And as I was walking the streets, because this area is very old, a lot of old buildings from the area is still like intact. So I was tapping into the energy, and all of a sudden I felt like I was sensing this energy where like in the US back in, I don't know, 1950s, 60s, there was like a segregation era in US where like the black and white were really like segregated, so you cannot use the same toilet, or you have to go eat at a different restaurant if you are labeled or considered black person, all of the thing. And I start to sense the energy, and like as if it's real. And that was the kind of segregation here. I don't know whether maybe perhaps among immigrants there were different layers and order of the superiority, inferiority, also in terms of wealth meaning money, or like there were a lot of discrimination in the energy here. And what I'm also tapping into is still there's a lot of remnants of that. So a lot of that pride in white supremacy is very much prevalent in the current conditioning and programming as well, that I receive through constant commercial and advertisements here, like kind of like programming people's subconscious mind, and constant comparison here. That is very, very strong. So these like so-called inheritance. So this is not like very high vibrational inheritance, but it's like lower vibrational inheritance. But still, it's a form of inheritance that we are living with, and not just in this culture, but in all the cultures around. In Korea, we have that too. That if you are different from the majority of the group there, whether you look different, you don't speak the language, or you are from a different country or culture, one way or another, whether it's direct or indirect, whether it's conscious or subconscious, we all experience this kind of segregation or separation or discrimination. So Source Gaia and my spirit team have been exposing me to tap into a lot of the colonial era energies in all parts of the world, especially what took place in all this in this region, Southeast Asia region here, and as well as a lot of the Africa and India. So I can't remember. I don't know if it's Rwanda. There was this energy, like this part of this that place or that location was colonialized by the Belgians at one point. And before that, there were different tribes, the indigenous tribes, very living harmoniously with nature and with one another, peacefully and harmoniously, abundantly. And then the Belgians came, and then they took over, and they started to control them. And then these tribes that were just one family, that got separated into two different tribes, and with the Belgian government's, like the control, one became more developed. And after they were freed from the Belgium, they had their own president, and I think the president of this tribe were together, I'm not quite sure, but I think he died during with a plane crash or something. And when that happened, when the leader died, this one tribe who used to be the same family, who used to live very peacefully and harmoniously and happily together, had this anger within them, and with the separation, they created a lot of hatred over the years of the colonial era, with this kind of different treatment, I guess, or like standards of living. And then they killed everyone in the other tribe. So I think in 100 days, 100,000 people died. They killed their own brothers and sisters. So they killed everyone from babies, families, males, and old and young, just everyone horribly, just because of that programming that started to take place with the colonial era of the separation. They started to compare, and then they started to compete. They started to have this concept of lack, and with that they start to fight each other and they start to hate more, and they eventually kill each other. You see, that's the energy of the colonial era in a lot of the places. So before they were very peaceful, harmonious, one tribe, all of a sudden separated, they were programmed, and after years, that was the aftermath. So that energy has been coming up very strongly, and this energy of superiority, inferiority, it can be many different forms, and you can have your unique projection or meaning at this time. And I say superior, inferior, based on your own experience, or however, whatever that you have, you've been conditioned with in your own culture, right? So that's the interpretation is also very unique. And what also came was so basically all this area that was part of the experimentation of the Age of Darkness that started in South America as well, and North America as well. All the so-called Indians or Native Americans, they were all these tribes, indigenous tribes, who were living harmoniously, happily, peacefully. I think they may have some tribal like wars and stuff like that. They have their own stuff, but like basically that's the energy. And then all of a sudden the colonial era started to take place, and then all the history that we have learned thus far is oriented based on their own point of view and their own glory and pride. So all the histories, and when you go to a museum, there's explanations. It's likely a lot of them are manipulated and another part of the programming, meaning it's very subtle. So it's a very subconscious programming. So it creates this unknown anger or resentment or hatred towards one culture or towards a nation or something of that nature. And another example that I lived through is like in Korea, as an example, is we have that energy between Japan and Korea, in our history books, which is part of the truth, but also it's also packaged as how Japanese were very horrible, like just like monstrous, that they did this to us. And we were fighting for, like the Koreans were fighting for Japanese government to erase certain things in their history books that they teach to children in schools, because they have different stories of what they did during World War II and World War I, and which is completely different from what took place. So with this, people just start to hate on each other. Just like in like historical dramas where the mother, who's not the first wife or the official wife of the king, like a concubine, but she has the ambition to have power, and so somehow she got pregnant and she gave birth to a son. Now she has this possibility, so she now starts to program her son to fight for the king. And so she starts to feed stories of how horrible like this and that, and the kids start growing up hating the father or hating this particular family or hating something. That's part of the programming, is what is coming for me to share at this time. So we are releasing all of this colonial era energies very heavily at this time, and this all this like light codes and energy frequency rising. We are to further be more aware of these subconscious separation that may arise on an individual level. And that, just like Mother Teresa said, she's not participating in fighting for peace, because peace is something that it's another fight. She understood that deeper meaning, or the higher understanding, what peace meant. So that's another separation. Fighting for peace, fighting for women's rights, or fighting for minority rights, and fighting for this, meaning they're constantly fighting over what is superior, what is inferior. If they win over, now they become the dominant force, they become the superior force. So just tiptoeing, like moving the scales like this, not like this, as one, and coming together. You see, that's been the age of darkness and all these eras that we've been living under. And basically, when you visit all these different countries and culture, there are always histories of wars and this kind of colonization, where they also show me the picture. I think in Vietnam there was like a black and white film, silent film, where this white woman, who I guess is like a kind of the colonial government in Vietnam, she's in like dress and hats, that Western like kind of dress, and all the local kids, the Vietnamese kids, with barefoot, and they're on the streets, and they're throwing coins at them. They're throwing coins, and these kids are like busy picking up the coins, So as they build the system of capitalism and all that, this gap or the separation start to unfold. And as they live the system, they start to experience lack. And as they experience lack, they start to experience and feel fear, and feel this resentment and anger. So there's a lot of this energy in every culture. And in my latest video, as I mentioned, the culture, you bring your own culture with you wherever you go. It's not about the country, it's not about this culture, meaning your own unique conditioning at this particular time. So we are to further look into that continuously, is what I'm going to share. And so what also came as a message was one ohana. Ohana in Maui, in like Hawaiian, means like family. So one family. So we are now we are in the process of merging as one big family now, from all the separation experiences that took place to merge. And so now we are to work on all these culture conditionings that created a lot of these also projections, constant feeling offendedness, or constant feeling inferior over, or constant feelings of subconscious superiority over. And this exists within the capitalism system now too, that if you go to a certain neighborhood that is considered wealthy or rich or has lots of money, or you're from a relatively, not from that area, then that word, so-called being snobbish, right? Being snobbish is the word that is coming up. So that's the energy that is prevalent everywhere nowadays in society, in different economies, due to these capitalistic structures. And also what came and what is coming right now is the energy of China that they want me to also share. That China has been structuring based on this capitalistic ideologies very heavily for the past 10-15 years. They developed very rapidly with very structured strategies. So a few months ago, they had me tap into a lot of the energy of China as well with this economic development. And when you go to China, you will, I haven't been there in years, but from what they had me see and experience and tap into energetically, you know, they're going for technological advancement and like very modernizing like societies and buildings, and there's this one area in Shanghai particularly that came through. Waitan is the area where it's like remnants of old colonial eras left, and across from it they built this new city. I forgot the name of it. I visited Shanghai a long time ago, and I visited there. And then there are these like colonial era streets, and across the river there are like skyscrapers and all these office buildings and business buildings, and there are like skywalks everywhere that's connecting. So you will see like the contrast. And what I received was how they're advertising this or educating people is that they had this painful history. Like, look now how powerful we are, how powerful China is now. And that's another identity or nationalistic pride or superiority. So it's just the other way around, but it's the same energy. Before it was the colonial or the Westerners or however you resonate, the Europeans. Now it's like China, or we are the most powerful and we are the dominant force. That's how they're continuously advertising and they're going for. So this exists in every nation and country basically at this time. This nationalistic pride also separating and anchoring people into operating on ego with that national identity. So that's another big thing. And also the Middle East as the same. Like in Dubai, the energy of Dubai has been coming on very, very strongly for the past week or two. So that's another energy of this, very similar to energy of the China. Now we are not the weak one. Now we are the stronger one. So they're like trying to reverse the game, or however you resonate with this word, reverse. But it's the same energy basically. The consciousness is still the same. So the precaution of this is because the consciousness, the level of consciousness is still the same and all the structures are built on that, it will just repeat another painful cycle. That's the karmic energy, right? So that's why it is very important for individuals, if you are resonating, if you are working to continuously align your energy, bring oneness to your own separation or the illusion, that what you do internally really matters collectively is the big message. So with this extraterrestrial disclosure and this and that, the old consciousness would be like hyping it up and just getting people more curious or get hooked on curiosity alone, and that it's just become another form of entertainment. That's not what we want. We are sharing this information because with this information, what can we do to help each other bring oneness is a big question. that we need to ask, that we need to continue to explore and learn, reflect on, is very, very big and powerful, that they are constantly, that they're very much emphasizing at this time for me to share, okay? So that you remain neutral, you remain in your own place rather than going to this side or that side or there or here. You stay centered, whether that event takes place or not. Everything's going to turn out in divine timing, but what you do changes or is contributing to the energy of the best, highest timeline for the collective and humanity as well, because the future is constantly changing. But in order for us to do that is not to continuously focus on the future and these events. That's not the purpose of this information sharing. But we have this information so we can go in and stay more present, is the very big key message. Because the future is all very time consuming. It's all very energy consuming. The more we think about it, the more we get curious, just like conspiracy theories. You get hooked and you're like, so is that true or not? So what really took place with that person, or what's going on over there? Like, it's all just mental focus, and it's taking away so much of your attention and energy. You see how you're losing energy there while you can create in this present moment or stay flowing, present, bring in the energy of joy, love, unconditional acceptance, or self-love that's going to also reflect on your physical reality. That's the energy. So everyone is to go into the temple within. That is the heaven on earth. Wherever you are, when you are in that state of mind and energy center, everywhere you go become your heaven on earth. You see, that's the energy of grounding your energy in to this moment now. It's a very big message, and the purpose behind me sharing this vision that I saw, this possibility of the future timeline, okay? So, I'm just going to tap in. Is there anything else that you want me to share at this time? Just be aware of false claims, someone's lies within spiritual community and also just in day-to-day realities. This is very much prevalent at this time. So your third eye, the sixth veil, and all this message today is very much relevant to that, crystallizing your brain. For your crystalline brain is what is coming. That the more you embody that oneness and dissolve the separation, segregation, discrimination, you remove that veil, you remove that illusion, that conditioning, that programming, that projection, and you start to ask, what can I do to help others? How can I be to bring or people together as one? But in the midst of this journey, there are a lot of lower vibrational beings and energies around, still unawakened or choosing to unawaken themselves due to deception or the ego playing, wanting to take advantage of others or situations, and all this exploitation energy that they still need to look into and confront and face and further release. If they're not doing that, they're going to continue to play out in a neutral sense. That's why these energies or the souls still are going to play out and exist. So that's where our continuous discernment and tuning into your own intuition and developing your intuition by training yourself to listen to yourself going in, so that you can discern not through appearances or their words or how they package, but see through these and then deceptions and lies and get to the energies. Okay, and when you get to the energies, you will know it's very clear. Okay, so that's how you want to continue to discern. Okay, is what is coming. And also at this time, ascended masters are working very diligently, is the word that is coming for humanity at this time, for our elevation. So they're going to visit individuals who are ready to connect with them more, to support them. It is what is coming. So you know who you are if you resonate with this message, is what is coming. The cosmic masters at the Himalayas that I've been connecting to very heavily the past week. So the energy for the past week leading up to now, constantly rising up again, rising up again. So just tune into your own body, allow your body to relax and receive these codes and energy upgrades to take place. Do not force your body. There was something that I wanted to share. What is it? So that energy of that segregation era in US, where you cannot use the same toilet in back then, right? There were separate toilets for white and black, restaurants for white and black, schools, communities, right? Now it's the capitalism. You go to New York City or certain countries or certain places in Europe, it's hard to find toilets, is what is coming. You can't poop. You can't find peace. You can't pee when you need to pee. You can't find peace. You have to pay for it. Everything needs to be paid for, and residents only, and this only. You have to buy this or that, or there are not going to be a lot of public toilets available, or you have to pay for your toilets, cash only, like these ideas and structures and systems and cultures. You see, that's another culture now that we are living in. You can't do that. And you say, oh my God, I really need to go to the toilet now. They're like, no, you have to. They're like, no, you gotta do this. You gotta only this, only that. With that authoritative voice, guarding. So that's very much the part of the culture of the capitalism that we live in, the unseen levels of these segregations still going on in a different form that is playing out. So that the reason or the purpose why we are constantly sharing this is so that we are more aware of this, and that we are to build something on a very unity consciousness state. Okay? And to do that, individuals' activation or emergence of oneness within is very, very important. So With that, a lot of these messages that I shared recently has been about that, the transmission. So if you are feeling called to receive these transmissions, there are certain transmissions that that's on my Patreon. So please go and check out what's there if you resonate, of course. And that I kind of understand how it was so easy for the Europeans to colonize the indigenous people or these tribes in certain cultures, like in the Pacific Islands or the Southeast Asia or like South America or even like Africa, is because when you encounter them, I encounter them like still in Southeast Asia as well, like in a lot of Southeast Asian cultures. Even though they still have that remnants of the inheritance of that spirit, the colonial era, where they carry a lot of lack, or like in Cambodia, where there's a lot of trauma energy with the war and killings that the people carry in their genetics. But the bottom line, there's like an innocence of heart is still there. So they had me share, like I was in Bangkok last year. No, not last year. When was I in Bangkok? Was it? I can't really remember. I'm just traveling around, like moving around. So I think it was before Osaka. Yeah. So around that time, at the end of last year, early this year. So I was in that Bangkok when I was there at that time. I shared this on a YouTube video around that time, that I was guided to go take the boat on that the river. What's the river? That main river, Chao Phraya River in Bangkok. So I ended up being the only person in the boat. It was all divinely guided, and I went around in the evening time until like the dawn, until it became dark, so that I was able to connect with the full moon in Leo, I think, at the time. And so I remember like at the beginning, I was just, there are a lot of boats and ferries. And I started to like, I was really excited because, you know, like this sun and I'm on a boat and just really like nice, exciting feeling. So I started to wave at people, wave at everyone around, just like, and then the people, like the local people there, like they're very expressionless. They could be like more like low wage job people, like just on the street, just having a break from like doing like delivery services and stuff like that. And I just waved at them, and they're taking a break, like getting their like smoking, or just like, it looked like they wouldn't shake back or say hi back, but everyone, whether they're kids or the old person or the like certain age, when I did this, they waved back. Even though they're not smiling, they're waving. Their heart is open. Very like, there's like still an innocence left. And when I waved to all the fairies and the tourists, they didn't. They were like looking at me, and they're just like with their sunglasses and just laying down and then not waving back. And it wasn't like an experiment, but it was more like I wanted to wave. And then the boat went into this area where there were like houses built on water. And I could see people's houses and their living. For me, it's always fun to have that experience. And they're like old, you know, grandmas and grandpas. They're like at the, just out in their house, or I could see them, or they're drying their clothes or something like that. And I just waved. And even though they're not smiling, they wave, and it was like one of a very heartwarming, connecting feeling, that there's no prejudice, there's no discrimination. It's just pure heart to heart. When I wave, they just wave. And also I remember like when I was in Cambodia, I went to this Buddhist temple. I was feeling, I was guided to go there, and just, I was walking on barefoot all around, connecting with the energy there for, you know, certain other purposes for Gaia. And then I remember like touching this tree. I went into this like little side. When I saw that tree, I felt called to connect. And I went in and I took my shoes off and I touched the tree, and then I was just like communicating like energetically. And then there was this old man who was sitting by the side, who looked like a kind of a, in US, like street bum, like really like dirty clothes, and he's like really, and at first you may get scared of that person because of the programming that what we've experienced and seen in big cities, that they're like drug addicts, or they're like to ask you for money or beg you for money, or you know, they have their own, they're trying to exploit you basically. And then when I went in, he started to like do something. He's like, hey, say something to me. And I, at first, that instinct came out because that was what I was experiencing in a lot of other cities. But then he was actually trying to help me because he saw that I was touching with the tree. He told me that there's another tree next to it. That's the tree where, you know, like the Buddha enlightened or something like that. Kind of, he was telling me to go there to connect. And so that's when I realized all this programming, right? It's very deeply ingrained. So with the latest video that I shared on YouTube, I kept sharing the under the sea, under the sea. What came afterwards was that we need to go deeper and deeper and deeper into these energies, and deeper into yourself. That's the clearing out of the old energies. And with that, you're contributing to Gaia's ascension, as well as your own ascension. So I understand, like I had that experience energetically with certain people, how easy it would have been for certain Europeans to exploit them, because taking advantage of their innocence of heart, and they're very open. If they're still you know, these people exist in people living in Himalayas or Tibet, or it's being exploited by the capitalism or other people who've been programming, going there, affecting their consciousness as well. But that sincerity, purity of heart, that connection between humans, when you experience that, it's very heartfelt and very touching, right? You never seen this person your entire life, and then you meet on the street in your journey, They offer you food, they introduce you to your family, and you stay there one night, you become a family. That's how connected we were. And these tribes were giving and kind and generous, and they took advantage of that, right? Their generosity and everything. So, I think yesterday they had me see this TV show, and someone said there was a survey that in Korea where they asked people, like, what's your number one priority? And they said now number one priority among people is money and then family. Before it was family first. But now it's money, and it's all about money, 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 money. And so that's pretty much the energy in Korea too as well, especially since 2018, as I'm tapping into it, very much heavily into that capitalism, that glory of that as like winning, advancing, moving ahead kind of energy. And that a lot of the things are very much about making money, and all the shows, even travel shows, when they visit now, like, they want something more exciting, so they're now exploring and going to all these like remote places in Africa or Middle East, or like all these different areas. And what they're doing is the same thing. They're exploiting because the consciousness never changed. So they're constantly comparing and sharing, oh, it's so cheap here, it's so cheap here, it's cheaper here. And then they bargain, they want to make it cheaper so that they feel like they're winning. They got more out of less. And they won over this vendor who's trying to sell. So that kind of mentality is still very much present. Korea is just an example, but everywhere basically. So it's like they go to Thailand and compare to how much of this in Korea, you're spending so much less in this and so much cheaper. They're not considering the economy of Thailand or economy of certain countries, that it's different. And they're not studying that. They're not even interested in learning, but they're simply going there. It's cheaper. You can get more, and you can do this, and you can have this business set up here, and it's going to be easier. All this like mentality is still the same. So that's what they have me see with the level of consciousness that we are in as a collective still at this time. That's just part of what we need to continuously clear out, is what I'm going to share at this time. So this is all part of reclaiming our sovereignty, the sovereign era. And there are going to be a lot of new things taking place, and changes, constant changes, more rapid changes taking place. But we are to further with these new waves, new currents. At this time, it's very important to bring in that unity consciousness, that divine feminine wisdom back to Earth, back to Gaia, by individuals awakening to remember. So that our transition is smooth, smooth sailing for new earth. Okay, and that's part of your purpose. That's why you are here as a starseed, as light worker, or earth angels, or however you resonate with these terms at this time. It's just human language purposes. But everything, the universal language, is energy, vibrations, frequency. So just tune into that. To continue to discern that you're also innocent. Have that energy of, keep that energy of innocence at heart. And also at the same time, you have wisdom. As you tap into your soul wisdom, that will help you, support you to navigate through lies and deceptions that are in our realities day to day, as we are living both the light and the dark at this time, in a symbolic sense, however you resonate at this time, right? Living with very much duality consciousness still. That we are not to negate duality consciousness as bad, but that was part of the experience. And we need to bring that to unity at this time. We understood what they are, how it affects. We understood the nature of that energy, and now we are going to a whole new experience of unity, consciousness. You see, that's another adventure. So you can see that as another adventure, another world, new earth, however you resonate with that, or these languages now, is what is coming. Okay? So that's why we need to get out of our comfort zone continuously, get out of our own comfort of what is familiar, what is known, what we've been programmed with, that is, the culture that we've been cultivated with, the identities that we've been programmed to identify with. That's was the part of the experience of the duality consciousness that created separation, and we experienced fear, we experienced hate, we experienced jealousy, we experienced comparison, competition, dominance, and what that's creating, right, as an energy form. We understood the nature of those energies. That's the purpose, you see? So now we are to experience something new, a new adventure. We are to experience the nature of peace, the nature of harmony, the nature of love or unconditionality, the non-judgment, the nature of abundance, what that is, nature of health, as a result of all this energy aligning. You see, that's another reality. We are entering a new era of new adventure, new discoveries, new explorations that await us. You see? You see the different take on that? So that's where we are moving into, and that's why we need to continuously align, flow like this. With that, all of a sudden, Yeshua is coming through. Yeshua and the energy of Pleiades and Sirius is very much coming through with the Christ consciousness that's available for everyone, anyone at this time. So that the purpose of that was to bring in that unity consciousness at this particular time now. You see? That's why Yeshua was here, reincarnated here on earth. He was here for this particular timeline as well is what I'm going to share. And just like my timeline with him in that reincarnation was to do this at this particular time now. So if you are here, you matter. There's a purpose with your being, you see? And we need to continuously drop, needing to prove that we've been working heavily in the Taurus season of self-worth, right? Pressuring ourselves to be more, to do more, and that is to prove ourselves that I am enough. That's the ego state, right? That if you win, that if you have more, you are enough. That's the programming that we are dropping, releasing, dissolving. So this transmission is from and with the support of the Pleiades and the Sirius to further open up your heart, to activate that Christ consciousness energy, to remember why you are here, to remember your value and worth of being, however it means at this time uniquely. You are enough. If you are here, it's enough. If you exist, it's enough. You see? No more proving, no more trying to prove, no more pressuring yourself to prove, getting out of that structure of time, chasing after energy, the lack. You are enough as you are. You are enough where you are. You are enough as who you are. You are not here to fit in. I know a lot of starseeds and light workers perhaps experience feeling misfit, feeling unbelonging when you came in. And it was a struggle, right? But it was all part of the experience. So when you honor those experiences, they become the fuel that empowers you rather than remain as pain. They become the power within. You see? Because you're so powerful. You came here for that experience of density. Because you knew that you were able to handle it. That's how pain turns into power, so-called, in human language sense, right? That experience, those memories that used to put you in a certain box, now you're breaking out of that box, breaking out of that mold, getting out of that comfort zone of that certain mindset, certain judgment, certain preconceived notions and ideas and prejudices. You're breaking out of that. You're breaking free because you are free to be. You see? Huatakai, atakakou, atakikiai, atakai, atakakau, atakikiai, atakakuakukuai, ataka hutukuakukua. This is to further clear up your third eye. Hutukuakikiai, atakakiakakau, atakikiai, atakaka. So I feel called to continue with this transmission, and I'm going to continue recording this and share that on my Patreon for equal energy exchange, for reciprocation, that I need to stay in balance energetically. So for those of you who need this support and that you resonate and that you're ready to receive in sincerity and gratitude and with contribution, Then all the information for Patreon is in the description box down below. And with that, I'm going to wrap up today, and I hope this message, information, and guidance helped you in any way. And with that, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.